The Camino channel, voices of the pilgrims. Souls of all nations converge on the walk. 3 Peregrinos from Tazmania plus 1 from Denmark gave of their caminos to our cameras at Morgade. Your hosts, Doug and Bob, are so glad that we supped with these fine folk. They speak of cheating, taking a car or bus across the less interesting and hard parts of the trail, because completing doesn't have to be perfect or prescribed, and reconciling your guilt. A movie, The Way, inspired them with so many others to come, but it can be challenging to make room in their lives. The wonderful fluke meetings of like souls and coincidences of good fortune that characterize the walk and superb recounting of humanitarian local work together in Nepal. I give you Lhote, Andrea, Bronwyn and Stephen. And I suppose this fellow that took your advice, rested his knee, and resumed the trail to meet you later in the bunkhouse, realized that there's no points for just being perfect in your compliance up to that point.
I think it's a realisation that people come here to do things for a particular reason, and the conversations I've had around the Camino is that it's your Camino.
That's right.
And it can be whatever it is, and it can be done in whatever way that you decide is appropriate at the time.
Okay.
We'd met up with, Bronwyn and I had met up with a couple of American couple from Vermont. We were in a hotel having a beer at the end of the day, as you do, because it's the only thing you can do to survive till the next day, really. George and Cheryl walked in and said, "We're going to take a horse and cart ride, but we need more people. We need 6 people." And we got to talking and managed to rustle up 6 people, and then 6 more people were interested as well. And this was from Carrion de los Condos.
Ah, my favorite.
And a lovely city. And we had to manage to catch the horse and cart with the 2 horses, Sabado and Domingo, beautiful horses. So 12 of us got on this cart and off we trotted. And we're waving to people, and some people were very positive and some were a bit judgmental, saying, "No, that's not the Camino, you have to walk it."
Yeah.
You know.
Especially when we were getting older, and these people had been walking. We realised we started the horse and cart ride at 9:30 in the morning.
Yes.
But
Yes.
these people had been walking for over 3 hours.
Yes.
And it was getting warm.
It was.
And here we were sitting in this car, going along the Camino and waving and saying "Buen Camino," and then suddenly you realise, oh, and there's this guilt of going.
Guilt.
There was
Really?
guilt.
Yeah.
We suddenly were going. The collective group was suddenly going. Should we be so happy, and should we feel
bad.
should we feel bad because we're up here? But we were kind of going, well,
No, it's
and
our choice.
This is our choice, and
We chose this as part of our experience with the Camino.
pilgrims back even hundreds of years ago, they would have used whatever form of transport, horses,
Absolutely,
donkeys,
what a gift.
carts.
Yeah.
And
that
they do
would
to this
get.
day.
And why, so it was like, well, so, but it was that, that emotional challenge.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we were sitting in the car having these emotions, and I looked over the side, and I went, there's Lona. And it was like, we hadn't seen each other for about 3 or 4 days. We knew we were around about the same spot. Well, in fact, she was behind us. So there she was, walking along in this heat. I went, Lona. And she goes, oh, and a smile.
Not anymore.
And then this face changed, and you were thinking, what were you thinking?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
I want that.
I'm just walking. Yeah.
That's not allowed.
But it's like, you were really pleased to see us. And then this face, your face was so gorgeous. Well, it was horrible actually.
Oh, thank you.
Because there was this sudden realisation, I'm walking and you're up in this
My
car
friends are going off.
and you're moving. And then it was like, and then I went, we all went, oh,
Can we stop?
she's going. We're going to carry on and she's going to be left behind on the track.
So that was so sweet and stuff.
And it was like the worst moment. It was like,
Oh.
and she was getting,
So did you get in?
So, yes, so this little speck of Lona disappearing with this really traumatised face. and
Hard to decide.
and then we were going, I said, I can't do this. I said, let's make
Really?
let's ask.
To be able to be out there in the middle of nowhere, catch up with a friend, and, you know, be able to manage the situation so that we could continue together. It was great, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
It was, and I know, you know, the look on your face was, as Bronwyn said, just, it was priceless. But
I just stopped and took a picture of the van, and it was
going.
totally,
Yeah.
and you can hardly see it on the picture because it's so small. And at the same time,
I took
one
a
was
photo
stand up and took a picture of me, and you can hardly see me. I'm just
Zoom.
Little dot.
Yeah, there's this little dot in the horizon and this sad face. Well, you can hardly see the sad
you can
face.
hardly see my face.
No,
Yeah.
no. But it was, and I guess you can call that chance. I call it a blessing, and I think for me, these are the experiences that say there's more to life. We can't control everything in our life.
That's right.
And,
That's exactly
you
right.
know, and these things happen for a reason. And you know, whether you have a spiritual
It was a
belief,
good reason.
whether you have a spiritual belief or not, you know.
But there's something about, we've all got to get through this together. That's so important. It's more important that we all get through this together than that one person gets through it alone.
that's right.
Yes.
It's the connections that you make with people along the way that has been the real highlight for me. I have to say I don't know what I expected coming here, and I think the first week or so was really hard physically, and I remember writing an email back to a colleague who did the Camino 17 years ago, when he was young, in his 30s, and we'd been talking about it. So I wrote an email back and said, you know, how much it was challenging, it was exciting, it was exhausting, it was surprising, it was everything.
Everything,
Just everything.
Everything. The whole catastrophe.
But what sustained me, I think, for me, is the connections with people, both with my family and friends at home who've supported me to do it, and my friends along the way, and the new friends that we've met along the way. It's this conversation at the end of the day.
Yes.
This is the Camino.
That's right. That's why
For me,
Bob and
this
I got into this project, is we just felt, this is it, this is the thing. And it needs to go back. It needs to be felt back to humanity as a whole, because this is the best of humanity. This is us as humans at our best. And it's so wonderful to see people.
Yeah, and I think, I think most people have seen the Mark Machines version movie, which is certainly what inspired.
That's why I'm here.
But that's why I'm here.
The Way?
And yes,
You're referring to The Way?
I decided to come.
Bronwyn and I saw that movie whenever it came out at a local cinema, and I think from that point on, that was something that
We put it on there
Kinda
and we were researching, and we knew it was a movie.
say, I wouldn't be here if I hadn't seen
It is a significant undertaking, and I know it's taken us, we've been thinking about it for 6 or 7 years, and realistically it's probably 3 years in the making, just because of commitments at home and work and all the things that we have to do.
It takes a lot of arranging.
Yeah, it does.
It really does.
It does.
And was it worth it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look, there have been times where it's been challenging, and at a store go, I got sick and had to check into a hotel and sleep for a day and try to get myself back together again. And the early days when we on the 28th of August, it was a really hot day going up from Saint-Jean through to Roncesvalles. It was 36 degrees and there was a crosswind that just would threaten to throw us off the mountain at every step. It took us 11 hours to get to Roncesvalles. And in the midst of that, Bronwyn lost her phone.
Had to run back up the hill.
Had to leave me with the packs and run back up the hill to not find it again. But here's another story. We'd been talking to a lovely man along the way. He was struggling. And that day as well, he picked up the phone, handed it in at the alberga, and the phone was back by 6 p.m.
Within an hour.
Wow.
Yeah,
Within an
within an hour of us getting to the albergue. Because although he came behind us, he took the shortcut, which was the really steep, horrible track, which we'd.
Oh, down to Roncesvalles. Yeah, that was a killer.
But so why did you come on the Camino? And he goes, well, I'm a scout leader and I've come with a group. And I said, I'm a scout leader in Tasmania. And it was like this amazing realisation that our lives had been, again, this plaiting and winding along the trail.
Right.
And to go, here I was, Polito and his friend Jim, from the United States, and they were here with a group of scout leaders.
Wow.
And we were sitting at a table with a little tablecloth, and it had a fleur-de-lis on it, which is the symbol for scouts.
Yes.
Just scout group, very Christian based.
Well, Christian makes you really fast.
Well, you must do.
Gives you rockets in your feet.
There you go.
We have been fortunate that these guys have done some travel in different parts of the world together, separately. We did an amazing journey and worked through Nepal last year.
Where was that?
Nepal, Kathmandu, we're in Kathmandu, Bananalakanta up in the hills, and we did some time up in Annapurnas.
Wow.
So some of that was, volunteering, offering our various skills and services to a group of people that had not been exposed to it, and that was probably brought together synergistically by the fourth. So Cynthia was the key to it. So she's a music teacher and developed a connection with an organisation called the Music Arts Society in Kathmandu, where they try and provide music education and opportunities that just transcend the various difficulties of living in a country that's been battered around. So Cynthia had taken the first step and flew over to Kathmandu and worked with these people. And
Going again.
Yeah, and Kathmandu was my bucket list, and I said, if you go again, I'd like to come.
yeah, and I'd always wanted to go to EBC and fly into Lhote. So Everest Base Camp, Lhote. The airport, the most challenging airport of the world. Days of hiking and up amongst the Annapurnas, which was spectacular. And then we had...
Challenging.
We had 7 to 10 days working alongside Cynthia and the people from the Music Arts Society, and Cynthia delivered music education programs to the kids and some adults, and in a variety of locations. These girls helped out with that. My background is that I'm a chiropractor. So what we did is we created three pop-up chiropractic practices in Nepal and provided services that these people had needed. Was overwhelming with the need, overwhelming with the intensity and the range of stuff and work that we did. So we worked very intensely and very hard over that period of time. But there was more to it than that. Interwoven amongst that is our practice turned around and our people in our practices at home turned around and got on board by actually donating all sorts of things, in particular a range of funds that we then took over there and used to help, I guess, buy equipment for these guys. We had our scout group that had actually raised a sum of money which we took over, and we were using that.
With Kathmandu, if you actually take the money over and then buy it from, they've actually got a lot of sources, and that way it's helping their economy as well.
Makes sense.
We distributed balls, soccer strips, the uniforms, to an orphanage, to a school, and to some people in a village up in the mountains. We did all that. We had another bunch of people that turned around and actually, predominantly ladies, put together and actually knitted jumpers and beanies and scarves and all sorts of
And lovely little soft toys.
And toys. So all of that came together and that got distributed in amongst all of that. And putting that all together when you're on ground in a country that you don't speak and you can't just go to the nearest Walmart or anything else to get all the bits and pieces.
Is one of his first days. He didn't know how his offer of doing chiropractic here would go, because it's a field that they don't even have basic medical here. Chiropractic's kind of an extended. It's a third world. I'm in a first world country here. Who was the director of this group? He said, "Don't worry, we'll have it sorted." And their way of sorting it is printing out these big plastic advertising. Dr. Crean's going to come here, clinics, and promoting it through all their relatives and things. And on day one, they had this little room set aside from the music room where he could consult.
About the size of this table.
Yeah, it wasn't the table that he managed to communicate. I need a table to be able to examine people. They got one from somewhere.
It was a camp stretcher.
It was a camp stretcher, right. Very little movement. And he thought, I would take my grandmother and see what can be done. And you should be telling this story, but you were too shy. Anyway, so a one-off chiropractic treatment is not going to change somebody's life, but if it gives them some suggestions of what they can do from here on, or whatever, it's more valuable. So she came out of the room and she had this big smile on her face, and she wanted to go into the music room where Cynthia was playing music and these young kids were up dancing. She sat in the chair, she watched them, and then she got up and she started dancing.
Really? Wow.
In that room. And everyone saw her dancing. So guess what? The queue for people wanting to go and see Stephen suddenly wound away down the stairs and out the door.
So glad that you could join us to hear these wonderful stories from these great folks. And we'll look forward to having more on the Camino channel. Voices of the Pilgrims.